Hi everyone, this is Elizabeth, and in this video we will take a look at stories of severed legs that were found over 100 years ago. Severed legs were quite a common find in the early 20th century. This was namely because surgeons who amputated legs by the dozen did not dispose of the legs properly. However, one of the popular methods of covering up a murder was to chop the body into bits before scattering the parts on land and in the water. In the fall of 1904, in Ashland, Oregon, two boys went out to a field to catch the horses and go for a ride. While in the field, they spotted an old rubber boot. They looked inside the boot and discovered the remains of a severed leg inside of it. However, instead of reacting the normal way children might, the boys went ahead with the horseback riding and neglected to tell their father about the leg until the next morning. The police were called to the site, but nothing more could be discovered about the leg or who it belonged to. In 1911, a report was made about a severed leg discovered at an Indiana railroad. It was believed that a man was the victim of an accident or tragedy during the night, but no trace of the victim could be found. The only evidence was a human leg and a pool of blood. Shortly after this report was made, it was discovered that a young man had lost his leg after it had been run over by a train. Unfortunately, the young man died of blood loss and shock, but the authorities at least knew that they did not have to seek out the body belonging to the leg. In the summer of 1903, in the state of Montana, a doctor amputated a patient's leg. As was typical of the times, the doctor placed the leg and foot outside the building. Someone was supposed to retrieve the leg and bury it, but that person never showed up. By nightfall, the leg was discovered, and it drew quite a crowd of curiosity seekers. The police were called to investigate the scene and find the missing body. After interviewing the inhabitants of the nearby buildings, the origin of the leg was discovered. Residents, however, were not satisfied with the mere investigation. They wanted the leg removed from the alley and properly disposed of, and the police were forced to take over the duty of burying the leg. The main problem with finding body parts in the past was that there was often no way to determine who the part belonged to, especially if the body was cut up into little bits and scattered across the land. Take, for instance, this case in 1913 when a satchel containing a leg was discovered in an old barn near Chicago. The leg had been cut into 3 pieces and, to everyone's horror, was still warm when it was found. The whole affair was labeled a deep mystery by the local police. While a person was checking out a Tennessee cave back in 1887, he discovered a perfectly preserved leg. It was petrified and had the appearance that it was once shoed with a moccasin. He sold the leg to a traveling optician who, in turn, was trying to sell the finding to P.T. Barnum. In 1906, a horse walked into a nowhere town in Nebraska with a human leg and foot dangling from one of its stirrups. The townsfolk captured the horse, but did not know what to make of the leg. Word was sent out in case anyone realized that their leg had galloped away with the horse, but no word came back. People speculated that the leg was wrenched off after the owner had been dragged to death. Others were of the opinion that the man was struck somewhere by a train and that the horse escaped fatal injuries.